So our next topic is going to answer a very common question. So oftentimes we hear from our community members or customers, how can I integrate Zabbix with application X or application Y? So our next speaker is going to talk about integrating Zabbix with some specific applications. So let's welcome another colleague of ours from Zabbix Latam, technical engineer, Daniel Nasiloski. Welcome.
Hi guys, first of all, thank you so much to Zabbix and Zabbix Latam to the opportunity to be here. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and that's it. Okay, I'm gonna start to introducing myself. My name is Daniel Nasiloski. I'm a technical engineer at Zabbix Latam. I'm 8 years old experience with Zabbix. I'm a beginner at Node.js developers, but I can do a lot of cool things with Node. So okay, let's talk a little about monitoring application. The most part of the new sysadmins and some expert sysadmins have thinking about monitoring as internet connection, proxies and database ports, proxies and front-end ports, HTTP agent tests, or a bot to monitoring the user experience. Okay, this is great. And log monitoring. What this kind of monitoring has in common? All of this monitoring is made by out from out to inside the application. So sometimes we just lose some metrics and data. As a example that I have is when a Node.js application are running, but it lost the communication with the MongoDB, and when this happens, the app doesn't crash. It just continue running, but the application stops to work because they cannot communicate with the node the database that is MongoDB. So when this happens, and when the sysadmins realize that they don't have all the metrics, they start to think about inside out monitoring. What is inside out monitoring? Is when we can monitoring our application from inside the metrics, from inside the classes and methods, to by sending these informations for another platform, whatever. So uh, what can we get with the inside out monitoring? We can identify problems by classes and method, as I say before. So we can just call a trapper in an application, in a function, in if and else. So whatever you want. We can get faster response in high severity problems. We can identify suspicious users and identify application running but frozen, as I say the example using Node.js and MongoDB. So usually the companies that start to monitoring their application use slow clients and slow and heavy clients, and develop and start to develop their own monitoring intelligence that has a slowing application, that this is slowing the application performance, and sometimes it crashes it. So talking about this, I have a great solution to this problem. We have a component in Zabbix since the beginning of the tool that is called Zabbix Sender. Zabbix Sender is a component that is a small client. It have about 500 kilobytes, It's not a demo, so it's running on demand. So when we need it, just run and send a trap to Zabbix Server and then kill the proxies. We can centralize the thresholds and monitor intelligence in Zabbix Server. So you don't need to develop your own dashboards and develop your own monitoring platform. You can use a tool that is bigger and bigger. So the best thing in Zabbix Sender is the high compatibility. So you have we have Zabbix Sender in almost all operational systems. So as you can see, I'm not good at all creating slides. So I have a lab that I made to show you this possibility. So let's see this. Here we have two applications. One of these application is the back end that is running with Node.js, and we have a front end that is running with React.js. So I developed these two applications too many time ago just to try and test my knowledge about development. So it's a simple application. There is a lot of bugs here, but whatever, this is what I need to show you. How can I use Zabbix Sender inside my Node.js application? So let's start to running my application. I will run yarn start. So my backend will start to running, and it will this backend will connect to a MySQLDB that is running in this Docker. So perfect. It's saying that the database was created and the table was created. So perfect. Okay, and now I'm gonna start my front end. Okay, my front end is asking to run in another port because it is using the same port that my backend. So the port is the port 3000. I will choose yes, because when I choose yes, the front end will run on 3001. Perfect. Now I'm gonna test this. I close my Safari because it's not working very well in Safari. So I will open my Mozilla Firefox. Okay, localhost. Perfect. So here is my front end. This front end communicates directly with my back end, and my back end is here. Okay. What I did here. So the first thing I did was import my Zabbix Sender here. This is a component that I developed by myself, and it's available on npm repository or yarn repository. If you want to use it, you can use it. It's simple. So how I configured my Zabbix server. So here I have in this backend two files, .env and .env.dev. .env is my production configuration, and .env.dev is my development environment file. So as you can see, I run my application by executing my production version, but I don't want to execute my production version. I want to execute my dev version. Perfect. Okay. Now, if you can, as you can see, I have some configuration here as database password, database user, my token password, and here I have the Zabbix server configuration. I have the IP address of my Zabbix server. I have the Zabbix host that will receive my traps, and here I have the path to Zabbix Sender. So I can use this module in any operational system I want. You can use this in Windows, in Mac OS X, or CentOS, or Ubuntu, Debian. Okay, whatever. Let's continue here. So here I have the admin controller. This controller can control all my admin session. So what is my admin session? Is the admin logins and logout and manage what the users do in the platform. So this is a simple platform. When I log in here, I can register some students. So it's not important. Okay. So here I imported my Zabbix Sender. The Zabbix Sender, since it is once it is imported, I can use Zabbix Sender, and it need two parameters. The first one is the key of my trap item, and the second is the value. So as you can see in my code, I use this in this section, and this section, and this section. I will explain quickly which one this do. So here is when I try to log in my application. It will return, and there is no data found. There is no data found. It will register a 1 in my key called user login. So okay, it won't be work. Okay, so I will remove it from here. It's not necessary, but here is ultra necessary. Here is when I validate my password, if my password is correct or not. So when my password is it's wrong, so Zabbix Sender will send a value 1 to my Zabbix Server. So my Zabbix Sender will send to Zabbix Server the value 1 to the key called user.login. So here when a user log into the application with successful, Zabbix Sender will send to the user.login the value 0. So how can we test this? So let me restart the application because I removed one line here. But how can I test it? If we see in my Zabbix Server, I have in hosts of configuration, hosts, an item in the host called node_app. We have a item called user login. The key is user login. The type of this key is Zabbix Trapper. Okay, perfect. Now this guy will receive my wrong password. So okay, I'm gonna try to log in with a wrong password here. First I will use the user admin, and the password I will put anything. So when I try to access, we're gonna receive the message saying that we have a wrong username or password. When we go to Zabbix, we can go to monitoring and latest data. We're gonna just receive the value 1. Perfect. So I created a trigger. We can go to configuration, hosts, and in trigger section, we're gonna see that I create a simple trigger using the function count to count the last 1 minute. If I receive more than 10 times the value 1, it means a problem for me. It could be anything you want, but I just used this example to be easier to understand and to apply here. So if I'm going to monitoring and problem and trying to log in with a wrong login and a wrong password for 10 times, in the last minute, we have a problem. So let's do it. So it's the first one, second, now 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, perfect. 11, 12, and now let's go to Zabbix to see, and we have the problem. So if I have a user, a malicious user trying to access my front end using brute force, I will probably catch these malicious users just receiving this alert. So if I have a lot of problems with my user or a lot of wrong tries, the tries will be registered on Zabbix Server. But if I try to log in with the successful login, my problem is solved because in the last minute I have just a 0 because the time pass so fast here. So okay, in my application, if I want, I can just come to app.js or auth token and import my database or any part of my application that I want. I can just import Zabbix Sender, and when imported Zabbix Sender, I can just send any metric to my Zabbix server. So it's easy and it's simple to monitor any application with a free software, with a light and fast client that is available in Zabbix to anyone who knows to learn it. So that's it, guys. I think that is my presentation. That was my presentation. This is my LinkedIn. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to watch this presentation. And again, thank you for Zabbix and Zabbix Latam to the opportunity to this to do this presentation. It was a great pleasure for me. Thank you so much, and bye bye.
Thank you, Daniel. So we have a couple of questions for you about application monitoring and maybe some of the approaches that you used and some of the maybe obstacles that you managed to get over and surpass. So first off, do you use any custom modules or plugins or something like that in your Zabbix environment, maybe to monitor some applications or anything else?
No, so I use just one module that was developed by me, and this module was developed in Node.js using the client of Zabbix Sender, that you can do it in any other operational system that you have. So you also can use my module that is available on npm or yarn. So you can develop your own module in Python or Java or any other language that you are that you know. So the objective here is to show you how it's possible to monitor in the application with a simple way using Zabbix Sender.
Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe you can tell us what was the most complex application that you have encountered in your experience when setting up monitoring for it?
Okay, the most complex application that I monitored was crypto coin software that is used to make financial transaction using Bitcoin. So I used it since a Python script to monitoring some endpoints, and used Zabbix Server to monitor some classes and some methods inside this application. So that was the most complex application that I monitored using Zabbix.
Thank you. And maybe in the recent versions, say 5.2, 5.0, maybe 4.2 or 4.4, have you found that any feature is like exceedingly useful for you, something that's a lifesaver that we have added recently?
So can you repeat, please? I
So
didn't understand very well.
one of our features that we have added in maybe the last year, for example, JavaScript pre-processing or something like that, like a feature that you have found really, really useful that we added recently.
As okay. So yeah, I the feature that I used recently was the possibility to call a webhook to send a message or send anything to a webhook to execute some action in an endpoint. So people thinks that webhook is used only to send messages or send a simple alert, but it's not. But with using endpoints and webhooks and a simple API, you can call directly automation on your application. So the webhook for me is the one of the best solutions that was implemented on the latest version.
Thank you a lot. That's actually quite an interesting approach. And for everyone else that is interested in using such an approach, feel free to reach out to Daniel in the Q&A section and maybe discuss this with him. He should also be reachable in our tech booth. So maybe you can have a chat with him in the tech booth about this here approach. Thank you.